Righty then, successful indie author 5-minute focus episode 1159. Every character wants something. Not just the main characters, side characters, sketchy characters, characters that you're just using as backdrops. They all want something. And by adding that little something, you add great depth to your story and to your narrative. Think about the character that's just walking along the street, just adding three-dimensionality to a scene instead of your main characters always being by themselves. There's no other characters floating around doing anything. So what about that character just walking down the street? Characters walking down the street. Cool. Means nothing. What about a character walking down the street scowling on this Monday? Hey, that tells you a lot. And you may never see this character again. You probably will not see this character again, but think about the depth that adds to your story. Motivation. Every single character, every single being has it. What is their motivation? Even if it's something like sitting on a couch watching TV. Well, what shows are blaring? What do you hear in the background? What draws their attention away from the TV screen? These are the things that add three-dimensionality, that build a more compelling narrative, even for those characters that are just background. There's something going on. Every character has motivation. So getting into all their heads, hey, that's pretty complex. But you know what? We're authors. We deal with complex because you're telling a whole story. It's just you, yet you have to develop this whole world and the whole story and the plot and the engagement and the action and the interaction. And you can do it. And you do it. I've done it over 200 times. Well, some are better than others, but still, those characters, those interactions are so important. The reality of each story, it makes it more real when the characters have depth. Even characters you only see for a few seconds. And your main characters, well, they have a lot of depth because you're in their heads and you're helping the readers get into their heads. What's their motivation? Sometimes you just want a character doing bad things. I still can't figure out Voldemort's motivation besides, I want to be king of the world. I want to be in charge of everything. Really? That's a lot. And there's some people you don't want to be in charge of because they're jerks. So you just want them off to the side. But some characters, the motivation is shallow, even though it's big. So Voldemort's motivations, really? I just want to get back. I'm angry at everybody. I'm going to be mean just to be mean. It's hard to relate to that. However, all of the other characters and their motivations, yes, we have to defy the meanness, but we're doing this other stuff too. And that is what makes the stories great. That's what makes any story great. Main characters, their motivations, but it's not just, I will oppose the big guy. That's it. That's your main motivation. But what are you going to do if you defeat him? What are you going to do if? What if is a great tool for authors to help them develop plots, help them develop characters, help them develop worlds. What if you could not buy a ticket on this train? Well, platform 8 3/4. You have to go through a secret entrance. Oh, okay. There you go. You can't buy a ticket. Can't buy a ticket to this. Think about the depth that you can add to the character. Motivation. Why are they doing what they're doing? You need to keep that always in your head, always in mind, so their actions line up with their motivations, because sometimes they just wouldn't do that. And I read books and it's like, that's a head scratcher. Why are they doing that? Because everything else I've seen says they wouldn't. So let's figure out why. I talked yesterday about Ted Lasso when he launched on the therapist and he got so mad and stormed out. It's like, boy, that's not him. But it was deep down. And you had to learn that as it went. But it was a plot point, and they better have resolved that. If they didn't resolve that, then that would have been just out of character. So if you understand the motivations, you can always bring them back where it is in character. So understand that as an author. Help the readers understand that and help them embrace the three-dimensionality of your story. Peace, fellow humans.